Now, welcome back. Several students have been left stranded without roofs over their heads after private accommodation landlords evicted them. NSFAS, which has failed to pay rent for months on end, sent appeals to avoid evictions and promised to resolve all payments by the 18th of June. The evictions come amid academic examinations. One student from the Vezinhlanhla Simelane College says the school has allowed the evicted students to sleep in some of the classrooms so they can focus on studying. We speak now to the South African Students' Congress President, Vezinhlanhla Simelane, who is joining us live from eThekwini. Mr. Simelane, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon on Daytime Update. It seems to be a very serious situation for the students mid-exams to be evicted at this time. What is your reaction to this?
Thanks very much for having us, and good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to our listeners at home. As we have correctly said, that indeed it has said the reality, especially during examinations, where you will find that our students will be chased out from their residences because of the failure of NSFAS in relation into payment of lease residences. So, as an organization, we condemn what is happening in these residences. Of course, as we remember that the new administrator that was appointed, we had made our very self clear to him that we want him to clean up the mess that has happened in NSFAS. But by the look of things, we do believe that there is a slow pace in terms of addressing the fundamental challenges, especially the one of accommodation. It's not only the report that we have got, even ourselves, we know that even in the Eastern Cape, one of the colleges there called KST, students have got challenges in terms of accommodation. The NSFAS has not piloted the accommodation programs that they have said they're going to do. In Durban also, we have the very same challenges, but some of the landlords, our organization is able to engage with them to be patient with NSFAS so that our students can be able to continue study, because it's very difficult for our students to perform academically if they find themselves without a proper accommodation. So we do have a responsibility to engage both NSFAS and also engage our landlord, especially if a landlord has a contract with NSFAS. In our view, we believe that NSFAS should have long cleared those things. Or also, they must take them into confidence that, look, you are working into your issues. Can you allow our students to stay there? Because what is going to be dangerous at the end is that if our students are performing not well, it's the very same NSFAS is going to withdraw the funding to them. So they must play a very important role in ensuring that there is no one who don't have access to accommodation, especially if they do qualify for accommodation.
Yeah, and you're also interacting not only with the students, of course, but as you're mentioning, the landlords as well as NSFAS. And when you're speaking to them, are you getting any sort of resolution between NSFAS saying we are going to sort this out at a certain date? It was supposed to be 18th of June. Some of those students were kicked out before that date already. What are the landlords also saying?
You know, when you engage with NSFAS, I was speaking to one of the colleagues from NSFAS just before this interview, as to get to understand really what is the challenge in terms of non-payment and so on. So they are saying on their side that there's nothing really that is a problem on their side. So somehow there is some progress. But when you engage to owners of properties, they are saying that it's been since the starting of the academic year, they have not received the payment. And when you ask what is the reason, they are saying that there are slow processes by NSFAS or the change of management. You remember that there was a board, a new administrator was appointed. So there were some hiccups when we were dealing with question of leadership from NSFAS's side. So all what we are saying is that we are urging NSFAS to ensure that at least they fast-track their processes as to pay all of these outstanding balances. For instance, we are also engaging with our structures today, because when we got a call about the interview, we had to gather some information. We also got an information that there are many students across the country who do have the challenge of accommodation, and we might experience some problems when we reopen because some of the universities in Togo are closing very soon. So when we open, some of the landlords have been able to assist us to say, no, it's fine, I'm going to allow your student to continue the examination. But when you come back, we need this matter to be cleared. So we are anticipating a problem when you come back, especially on accommodation crisis. So we believe that NSFAS at that time should have long concluded matters that relate to the question of non-payment of accommodation.
And as the South African Students' Congress president, did you accept that response from NSFAS that they are just going through some hiccups when you know that these students have been disturbed completely at a very important time and in the middle of winter?
There's no way that as an organization we're going to accept that, because we believe that since there are changes now in NSFAS leadership, that should be able to address the imminent challenges of accommodation. Of course, not only accommodation and other NSFAS-related challenges. So we have not accepted that kind of an explanation, because a big organization like NSFAS should have a capacity to deliver from its expertise. So as an organization, that is why we're saying we are really concerned about what has been happening by NSFAS. And also, we are urging NSFAS to fast-track their processes, because that is where maybe from the beginning we should start by engaging with the NSFAS, the Department of Higher Education. If ever there's a problem that comes across, we have to start in an engagement and all of those things. We don't want to be seen as hooligans, people who just go and protest if ever there are challenges. That is why we thought that maybe by engaging them, and then they'll be able to listen to us. But in a case where they are unable to listen to us, that is why I'm saying we do anticipate some kind of instability, especially when they come back, if ever they've not addressed this challenge. Because the only option that we'll have is that we need to ensure that we explore other means for them to be able to listen to us.
Also, the things that you're mentioning now as well, Vezinhlanhla, about the other issues, it's not only just accommodation, but also the fact that some students haven't been receiving their allowances for months, which would mean, of course, they also can't get essential things that they need, including food as well. So not only are they worried about where they're going to sleep, but they're also worried about what they're going to eat. So what is NSFAS saying about that? And I'm sorry, I'm posing all the NSFAS questions to you, because we did ask them to come, and unfortunately they weren't able to come to this interview at this moment. But hopefully, because you've spoken to them, you've interacted with them, what are their answers about the other challenges as well? Because it's not only just accommodation.
No, thanks once again. Unfortunately, I don't know why they decided not to come, because it was always going to be good if they were also here part of this conversation, so that they can be able to answer their questions directly to us that we are posing. But also to answer the question, one of the fundamental challenges that NSFAS has is a slow pace of addressing the questions of appeals. Those students who have been applied, rejected, but do qualify for NSFAS, they are also in the system of higher education. They're studying in different institutions. They don't have accommodation, for that matter, you can imagine. Because of being rejected by NSFAS. They don't have food. So they are writing examinations now. Some of them have concluded examinations without having benefited from NSFAS, while at the same time they do qualify for NSFAS. So those are the challenges that, in our view, we believe that NSFAS, when we speak about its capacity, it must be able to address, because there are many students who have appealed, they have not received their replies from NSFAS, who were rejected unfairly by NSFAS. So we believe that that thing cannot be accepted by the organization, and we are calling upon NSFAS to ensure that they address these challenges. When the administrator was appointed, we all had hope, because we'll understand that at some point there were many challenges that were there during the term of the board that was there. So when the board was dissolved, the administrator was then put to address the immediate challenges of NSFAS. But we're looking at a slow pace that things are happening, and we are going to put pressure, not only by engaging, as I've said, that we are going to mobilize our students so that we can be able to put NSFAS, to ensure that NSFAS is able to address these matters. And also, I'm sure one of the things that also is affected us is that the question of, we're still waiting for the president of the country to appoint the Minister of Higher Education. And we believe that the Minister of Higher Education will be the progressive minister. that can be able to understand the historical materialism of our country, where we come from, challenges that our country is facing, what the challenge that the sector is facing. We don't want anyone that can be appointed in the Ministry of Higher Education that will speak a different language that we know as an organization. So we're also calling upon our government, the President of the country, Sir Ramaphosa, who has been recently inaugurated, to ensure that when they appoint the Ministry of Higher Education, they appoint someone who understands the challenges of the working class, the challenges of the poorest of the poor, so that when we raise issues that relate to NSFAS, they can be able to understand and grasp and provide solutions to our problems.
Vezinhlanhla, thank you so much for your time. We're all going to be waiting with bated breath to see the formation of that cabinet of the 7th administration.